A lo largo de la historia, la humanidad dejó registros claros sobre la reencarnación del alma. Entre todas las civilizaciones antiguas, los egipcios destacan por su firme creencia en este enigma ancestral. Creían no solo en la posibilidad de que las almas renacieran una segunda vez, sino también en la idea de que podrían ser enviadas a la tierra para redimirse de los pecados cometidos en vidas pasadas. Algo que la ciencia no puede explicar. Pero hay alguien que sí se adentró en el misterio de las regresiones hipnóticas.
Because it's one thing to write about past lives and the theory of past lives and how past lives can help people, cure people, can change their views of life and death and what happens after we die. But it's another thing for people to experience for themselves.
We do have memories of other lifetimes and of spiritual states, but in our everyday consciousness it gets blocked out. We get too busy with thinking and business and details and living everyday life.
Brian Weiss es un médico estadounidense nacido en 1944, reconocido por su inesperado descubrimiento sobre la reencarnación. Su investigación lo condujo a transformarse en el pionero de la terapia de vidas pasadas.
So I didn't have any belief in past lives or reincarnation. I'm not even sure how he would categorize me except as a scientist. I was a professor at the University of Miami and chairman of psychiatry at Mount Sinai. A large house and a big mortgage and 2 young children. There was a lot of risk, and I was making more money than I ever had before because I was the chairman of the department. So there was a lot of risk to me, and I didn't tell people right away. But the more that I saw it help people, this information, this knowledge, it helped people to understand that there is no death, that we go on when we die, whatever you want to call that part of us, the soul, the spirit, consciousness, survives the death of the physical body.
En el pasado, siendo completamente escéptico, el curso de su vida tomó un giro inesperado cuando conoció a Catherine, una paciente que estaba recibiendo terapia tradicional por parte del Dr. Weiss, que al no ver signos de mejoría en su paciente, decidió probar una técnica de hipnosis para inducirla a un estado de relajación. De repente, Catherine había caído en un profundo trance hipnótico. Fue ahí cuando comenzó su primer viaje regresivo. En el libro Muchas vidas, muchos maestros, se menciona que la paciente Catherine lograba acceder a una especie de umbral. Allí, otras almas aguardaban, esperando cruzar lo que, según Catherine, era una puerta. Al cruzar esa puerta, Catherine se encontró con una de sus vidas pasadas, habitando un cuerpo físico masculino.
Hypnosis is putting people into relaxed states so that they can concentrate, their memory is improved, and their body is very relaxed. It's a normal state. We're all hypnotized every day. When you drive your car and your mind wanders and you forget the last few blocks, but you didn't crash, that's hypnosis. When you're watching a movie and you're so absorbed and concentrating in the movie that you don't hear the people eating popcorn around you, that's hypnosis.
Well, then what happened with Catherine when you start hypnotizing her?
She was one of those people that can go very deeply. And the first time she went very deeply, she did go back to her childhood and remembered traumas from her childhood. Significant traumas. And yet her symptoms persisted. She was remembering with emotion, which we call catharsis, and yet her symptoms were still there. So I thought, we have to go back even farther. Maybe instead of 5 years old, because she was remembering when she was 5, something happened when she was 3. And so the next session I told her, go back to the time when your symptoms first began, thinking that she would go back to a younger age. And she went back about 4,000 years, because she took that literally.
You opened a new door, a new big door.
Yes, for both of us. She did not believe in past lives either. And she was with a different name and a different face, and describing with vivid details and emotions a life where she drowned in a flood or a tidal wave nearly 4,000 years ago. Her baby being torn from her arms by the force of the water. She did not have any children in this life. And so this was confusing to me, because the drama, the level of details that she was seeing visually was very strong, not like her daydreams, not like imagination. And she had 2 other lives that first time, and then she came out of the hypnosis. And already I could see changes beginning in her. She looked more relaxed. She was very tense, very anxious person. By the next week, she told me that her fear of choking or gagging had disappeared. This does not happen from imagination. She was sleeping better. Her anxiety was less. And week by week, as we went through the therapy, all of her symptoms disappeared without having to use any medicine in her case. And then that was shocking to me. And yet something very weird or bizarre happened. About the 4th or 5th session, she died in one of these ancient lifetimes, floated above her body, finding a beautiful light, being replenished by the light. And she told me there were 2 people there at the light to see me, my father and my son, both of whom had died before the sessions with Catherine began. And she told me my father's name. She told me about my son's medical condition. She did not know any of these details, and there was no place to look it up. And she told me other very secret facts.
Of your own life.
Of my own life.
So that confirmed that something new was happening.
Yes, because I knew, and she is not an investigative reporter, not working for the FBI. She was a laboratory technician in the hospital. There was no place to look up this information. This was before the internet, before people had access to all of this information. My father didn't even have an obituary, neither did my son. There was no place to look up the details. And she knew the details. And I asked her, where are you getting this information? And she said, it's coming from spirits that are around me. And along the way, she kept giving me messages from these masters. Messages about life and death and why people are here, what's the purpose of life. And since they were so correct about my father and my son, I was recording these sessions exactly. Because Catherine I was seeing in 1980 and 81 and 82, this is now 26 years ago. And I was recording every session word by word. So I did not write Muchos Vidas, Muchos Sabios for many years after Catherine, because I was concerned with my reputation and my career. I had no intention to go public about this.
That was your fear?
That's right.
And do we all have several past lives?
I think we do now. You know, every question you ask, boy, it has resonances at deeper levels, because I've thought about these questions myself. And I've asked people in the deep states, for example, how do the numbers fit? Like, there are more people than ever before. Where do the souls come from? Because if we're all having past lives, and now the population is larger, how does this fit? That's that scientific, rational part of me, which is always questioning to make sure it's real. And the answer that comes back most often is that this is not the only place where there are souls. Souls exist in many dimensions. And
not even planets, you mean other levels, other kinds of, other dimensions, not physical places.
See, So it may be physical places, but it can be non-physical dimensions too, as modern physics is talking about now. So it may be that a soul is here for the first time, but it's not a new soul being created. It's coming from another place. And so I think most of us have had past lives, but occasionally a new soul comes in.
And why does a soul need to reincarnate?
I think that this is a large school here, that we have lessons
Here
to learn.
on Earth.
Earth, exactly. Lessons of compassion, love, charity, hope, nonviolence. All of these lessons, patience.
It's a hard school.
It's a hard school. This is the hard place. This is the hard school. The other side, what people call heaven, which may have many different dimensions and levels also, that's not so hard. But here, in this school, we have physical bodies. We have pain.
And that hurts.
That hurts. Grief, loss, people die. We have illnesses, we have diseases. It hurts. So it's a very hard school. But it's a wonderful school, because here we have physical love, we have sensations, smells, we can see the sky and the waters, and it's a great school. It's a physical school. It's very, very difficult, but it's a good school.
It's like school.
It's like school.
We remember our own schools in that terms.
Exactly.